I guess we really want to drill into some of your expertise here and understand what advisors can learn from your knowledge and your experience in reaching their clients and building trust with potential clients. So let's start with just generally, how has your media background, podcasting and YouTube shaped your approach to building this business and client acquisition?
That's a good question. I think client acquisition is the easier one. Financial advice is all about trust. And so repeated messages that don't leave much shock or build shock. Like you don't rock up to the financial advice business and think it's going to be anything different to what you see in our content. It's really important. If you rocked up and then we had, really high percentage fees, or we had a really clunky CX or, customer experience, that wouldn't be in line with our brand. So you want your content to match the ethos of your business and how you actually operate. So that's been really good. In terms of just generally speaking, like the Australian financial advice landscape is chronically undersupplied. So I was chatting to a wonderful conglomerate just yesterday here in Sydney. I won't say who it is, but they've got a presence in advice and financial services, and they've figured it out as one of the 4 biggest trends in Australia's investment landscape, which is the financial advice and wealth management space. Because we've gone from like 30 to 40,000 advisors down to say 12. A few thousand of those are brokers. Some of them don't actually operate; they just have their license still, or they're on the register. And a lot of them only do like single types of advice, like insurance or investments only, or whatever. So you're left with like maybe say 4,000 advisors, realistically serving 140,000 people who retire every year, plus the 4 million that are already in retirement, plus a growing population, generally speaking, in accumulation phase. So in terms of it was kind of like a no-brainer. Like if I don't think we'll get an opportunity like this in our world of finance and media and stuff to have an adjacent service and an opportunity like this again. And with the ability to use technology increasingly to deliver advice, again, I don't think there's going to be a better opportunity. So there's kind of like this sweet spot of all these things have aligned, and it was just matching the content funnel to that advice and knowing that we can't do it alone. I was actually thinking about coming up here today to record with you both. And I remember in the early days, Ren, you said to me that, we do a lot of podcasts together over the years and whatever. And you always said that like people don't subscribe to one podcast. They have a few podcasts in their feed, and implying that we're not necessarily competitors, even though we have the same kind of business models or whatever. And I think about it similar to advice now. There's so many people that are in need of financial advice. I think a really good thing is like things like basis points and hearing from other advisors and networking with other advisors to learn from them and put that to practice in your business. And I'll give you some examples, like from Phil Thompson at Sky. His culture and HR mechanism is the most well-oiled machine I've seen. The processes of Everest is exceptional. Like the way James O'Reilly from Northeast communicates is unbelievable. The way Fox and Hare brand and communicate with their audience, exceptional. Like there's so many things that you can take from other people in the industry that create a really good business. We mentioned Pivot Wealth before with Ben Nash. He's got same with James Wrigley, great Instagram and TikTok game. I'm hearing of advisors that are building businesses solely on that at the moment. And they're growing really, really fast. And I think from a content perspective, you don't need to be like an Equity Mates or a Rask to build a really good advice business and to have that funnel. So just those few, pick one channel. I'd probably go with TikTok or Instagram just for real simple stuff. And that will be enough. You don't need to be one of these big funnels.
Well, for advisors thinking about getting into the content game or how they can leverage it further, like what content formats do you find work best for you to attract sort of like your ideal client?
I think the podcasts are the best for us because most people have listened for years. So it's really like if you're listening to this now, or even if you're watching, if you're listening to this, like you're in their ears, like they're in whatever, like they can hear us and, we can't hear them right now, but maybe when we catch up, we can. But I think that's a big one is like you're connecting with someone in a real intimate way. So for us, it's definitely been podcasts. Emails are a really big thing for us too, just stimulate activity. I wanted to ask you this because I know you guys do a lot of good emails now, like the morning email at 6 a.m. is great. Would you buy, hold, sell emails, like building an email list right now?
I'd buy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would buy and then buy again. I mean, I feel like with AI, the cost of producing content is going to get lower and lower. Like it'll
Yeah.
get close to zero. And so if you're on a platform where you rely on an algorithm to surface content to your intended audience, you're going to be competing in a more saturated field. Email is this perfect unalgorithmic platform where if you have someone's contact and they signed up, you can just communicate point to point.
Yeah.
And that is going to become less, and there's going to be less and less opportunities for that. And so it's going to become more and more powerful.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, there was a great HubSpot interview. CEO, the founder of HubSpot, was on the Shane Parison Knowledge Project podcast, I think it's called, about a year or so ago. If you're interested in this sort of stuff, he talked about, because he's the founder of HubSpot, right? So he kind of gets CRMs and emails and stuff. And he's like, everything within your CRM is going to become more valuable. Everything outside is going to be more noisy. And I think, like, if you're an advisor listening to this, it's like, how do you build a simple nurture sequence? When you capture information, if you go to an event, is there a QR code that enables them to just go straight into your mailing list? That's definitely been powerful for us. It's really interesting. And I was just chatting to someone just this morning about the way we collect email addresses is through content online. Really interesting is our traffic to our website, even though we keep the bots off from scraping our website, it's up 97% year over year.
Wow.
And our email collection is the fastest it's ever been. So,
and what's the insights there? Like what's driven that?
I think when ChatGPT started to not just eat Google's cake, but to completely smash it, Google was like, oh, to hell with all these rules. Let's just pump content in the system. And we were one of the publishers that are in the news algorithms and all this sort of stuff. And we get pushed to people's mobiles every day. You can see it in the search data. People are still really engaged in that digital format, which, to your point, I thought maybe the written form, and I still have fears about this, still have fears that the written form is not going to be as valuable going forward. But right now, I think that it is. And for the next couple of years, emails, all that sort of stuff is going to become really, really valuable. And if we've got AI, like you can use Google's, what is it, Performance Max or Meta's engine, I can't remember what it's called. But you can use a paid engine now to produce the content and then run the ads for you. You can just click a button.
Yeah.
And so who's going to win from that? Well, Google and Facebook and all that's going to win from that. But there's no point of differentiation there. So organic content, I think, is still really valuable. Personal brands behind the camera is really important.